Welcome to Video 2 of Section 1 of Creating Reports with SQL Server 2012 Reporting Services. The topic of this video is report queries in the Report Wizard. Upon completing this video, you will have an understanding of how to populate the query string text box in the Report Wizard. We will pick up where we were in the previous video. On the Select the Data Source page, click on Next to display the Design the Query page. We're given a choice of clicking on the Query Builder button or entering our query directly into the query string text box. The best practice is to already have the query developed in SQL Server Management Studio or some other query development application. We can also enter calls to store procedures. Even though Reporting Services has grouping and sorting functionality, let the database server do the heavy lifting of grouping and sorting. In your query, only choose the data you need in the report. Extraneous data will increase network overhead and the footprint of the report. Also, when designing and testing your report query, be mindful of the fact that your query could tie up database server resources if the query is resource intensive, and if possible, you should have a reporting database separate from your live transactional database. Paste the query into the text box. The query comes from the supplemental material for this course in Report Query 1.SQL. Now, let's see how we can utilize the Query Builder wizard of Reporting Services. Clicking on the Query Builder button displays the Query Designer window. We can test the query here to make sure it was copied correctly and make changes if necessary. Click on OK to save changes, or cancel to discard changes made in the Query Designer window. At this point, we can click on Next to move to the Select the Report Type screen. In summary, the best practices are to already have your query developed, to let the database do as much sorting and grouping as possible, to keep the amount of data selected to a minimum, to be aware of the fact that your report query could tie up valuable database resources, and it's a best practice to have a reporting database separate from your live transactional database.